This video contains adult language and situations. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. What is up, my dudes? Yeah! What is up, guys? It's the Reddit Fairy, and I am back with another video. This time, I've got some r/IDontWorkHereLady. This is bound to get interesting, so without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. I took Karen's figurine. So this happened at a Goodwill. On mobile, blah blah. Also, strong language, so anyone using this for a video is welcome to bleep out the bad words. You don't have to worry about that here, my dude. I love the bad words. I went to Goodwill with my grandma. It's our weekend thing. Chinese food, Goodwill, play date with the kiddos. We were in the Goodwill and it was busy. Like a line all the way around the store busy. I decide to browse a few more things and join her in line later. The workers are wearing multicolored shirts that all say Goodwill and either khakis or jeans. I'm not sure if other places have a stricter dress code. I can see how someone might get confused or even frustrated looking for an employee. I was wearing a plain blue shirt and jeans, so I kind of understand being mistaken for a worker. I'm looking at knickknacks when old Karen comes looking like she forever smells cat piss and pushing a cart with various things in it. Karen, get me more of these. I look, and she's holding a Gone with the Wind figurine. My mom loved Gone with the Wind, and growing up, it was my favorite non-Disney movie. I'm guessing it might have been part of a set, but Goodwill is just donations. You don't usually find sets. Me, I don't work here, sorry. Karen, bullshit, where is the rest? I have to have the set. Get me the fucking set. Me. People don't usually donate full sets. Maybe if it's dishes, but again, I do not work here. Karen. You fucking lazy bitch. I bet you're hiding them. Give them to me. Me. Nope. Bye. I literally peace out. I don't tolerate language like that when there's no reason for it, and I knew I could outrun the old biddy. She's kind of old and couldn't keep up, but I hear her shrieking. I meander along the line and meet up with Grandma and the kiddos. We make our way slowly. The line took maybe 45 minutes to get through, and I see one more thing on a shelf I want to look at. The shelf was right at the corner of the hallway that leads to the bathrooms. As I move to the shelf, I see the figurine in a cart by the ladies' room. I look around and recognize it as the ladies' cart. There aren't any other figurines, so I'm guessing it was just the one. Scarlett, in her white fluffy dress at the beginning of the movie, in case you wanted to know. It just wouldn't be fair for her to go home without all of the figurines in the set she wanted, so I decided to bring dear old Scarlett home with me instead, since I'm not very particular about having a full set. And how could I let such a lovely item live with such a foul-mouthed Karen? It just wouldn't be right. We get to the register, check out, and leave. Scarlett now sits on my mantle and, not going to lie, I feel pretty happy looking at it. Petty maybe, but I just can't make myself feel sorry. I wish I could have seen the look on Karen's face, but you can't get everything you want, I suppose. TLDR, lady thinks I work at Goodwill, cursed at me, so I take the figurine she wanted. Good for you, my dude. That is awesome. Put her in her place. She was probably so, gobsmacked when she came back out and the figurine was gone. I would have loved to see her face. Oh, good for you. I'm not a doctor or a nurse, sir. A bit of background info. My mom is the head of the dermatology department in the local hospital. And while in high school, I used to go in to help her with some basic filing and putting away boxes that were too heavy for her. As a note, the hospital has a very strict dress code for its workers, i.e., full white attire, no crazy hair colors, no visible tattoos, no shorts or short skirts, no long nails, etc. My country also doesn't allow hospitals to employ anyone under the age of 16. I have the worst case of baby face syndrome, and at the time I was 14, but looked around 11, and had bright neon pink hair, so there was no way anyone would have thought I was a hospital worker. Or so I thought. On that day, I was in my mom's office, packing up some boxes and shelving them, when an older man pushes the door open and walks in without knocking. My mom's office, room 18, is the last one on the hallway, and he had to walk past 7 other dermatology examination rooms to get here. The door also has a sign saying, "Do not disturb. Appointments are in room 17. Characters, me and old man. Old man: I got sent over from trauma and they said I need an appointment to see a dermatologist. Me: I'm sorry, but I don't work here. If you need an appointment, you need to speak to the nurses 1 door over on the right. Old man: Trauma told me I need an appointment. Me: I understand, but I do not work here. I cannot give you an appointment. If you would just go 1 door over, the nurses there can help you. Old man: But I need an appointment to see a dermatologist. They sent me over from trauma. Me: Yes, I understand that, but I do not work here. Please go 1 door over and ask there. The nurses can give you an appointment to see a dermatologist there. Old man: So, can you give me an appointment? Me, completely had enough. Please follow me. I go 1 door over, knock, and tell the nurse that the man needs an appointment and got sent over from trauma. Old man continues to be totally bewildered that he needed to speak to a hospital worker to get an appointment. I go back and finish packing the boxes. Edit: trauma was a head injury. Wow. So he is a little bit confused. Even I think in the comments here, they're talking about his confusion. Dude had a head injury. Didn't know what it was happening. This doesn't belong here. I'm sorry, this person who reported this, you're wrong. It does belong here because he assumed he worked there. It doesn't matter why he thought he worked there. He still assumed he did. So it definitely belongs in this subreddit. I don't work in air and space. I've been a long-time lurker here and thought I'd finally share this story. It isn't as dramatic as some of the ones I've read, but I hope you guys enjoy it. This actually happened to me a little over 20 years ago in my high school. During my junior year of high school, I was fortunate enough to be able to take the Aerospace Science and Tech elective. For our midterm presentation, my partner and I were assigned a research project on Werner von Braun. As luck would have it, the Air Force JROTC at our school was planning a trip to the National Air and Space Museum. Our teacher was able to coordinate for our class to go with them. However, because the JROTC kids would be in their dress blues, our class would need to wear nicer clothes than usual, dress slacks / shirt, tie, etc. The trip went okay for our research. My teammate and I found a smallish plaque with some info on von Braun. Things were coming to a close, and most of the kids headed in to check out the gift shop. I hadn't brought money for it, and I decided to stand out in the main area on my own. That was when something very close to the following exchange happened. Older lady: Excuse me? Me, lost in thought. Old lady comes right up to me. Excuse me. Me, I'm sorry, yes? Old lady. What time is the next IMAX movie? Me, I really don't know. Old lady. You don't know? Aren't you a manager here? Me, no, I'm not. How she thought someone so young was a manager at a museum? I'll never know. Old lady. Well, you must know. You obviously work here. Me. No, I don't work here. Old lady. Then why are you all dressed up? Me. I'm on a field trip, ma'am. Old lady. What? Me. I'm on a field trip? I think the IMAX theater is upstairs, though. Old lady. Oh. She begins to walk away, but turns back before leaving to say, Old lady. Thank you for being so helpful. You look very nice today. Me? Left mortified from both social interaction and the compliment. At least my group left to go back to school shortly after. Now I feel bad for reading her as an asshole. She was actually a nice lady, just a little bit confused. I kind of thought that's where it was going near the end there, and my voice started to crack, but oh, it was wholesome. Yay! Apparently my cat, Rocksteady Meow Boa, wanted to say hi. Just there. I don't know if you heard him, but he says hi. I don't know what title to put. Quick thing. This person is not entitled, thank God. And I don't know if this counts. Also, English is my second language, so sorry for any spelling mistakes. This is very short and not very interesting. The cast. Teacher, me, your father. So my brother was in a parent and son/daughter meeting to do some exercises together in PE. And since I couldn't stay alone at home, my mom brought me to the school. It was the first time I was in my brother's school, so it was exciting. I was watching them do warm-ups, yada yada yada. Suddenly, I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned to look at what I believe was a teacher. She asks me, teacher, hello, miss. Can you tell me how many students do you have at your class? I was confused and my mind started processing on why did she ask me that. She asks again, miss, can you tell me how many students you have? While she asked that, she gave me some papers and a pen. Now, I realized that she thought I was a teacher, but I was still confused as I didn't know why she thought that, as I was wearing my brother's uniform sweater and I was only 12. I guess since I was the same height as many of the teachers there, they were pretty short, around 1.68. I'm guessing that's meters or so. She thought I was one. I looked at her awkwardly and say, me, ma'am, I'm not a teacher. She looks at me for a second before realizing that I indeed wasn't a teacher. She looked very embarrassed and said sorry before grabbing the papers and pen and running away. I told my mom the small story and she laughed with me. Really? You're 13? And she thought you were a teacher. I don't know. I don't know if I believe this. I don't know. Do you guys believe it? I want to hear what you guys think. Post in the comments. Karen grabs my arm at the nursing home. So over the last few days, my mother and I have been moving my grandmother into a nursing home. It's been incredibly difficult, not only for my grandma, as this is a massive adjustment for her, but because at the best of times, she and my mother have a strained relationship. This led me to doing the majority of the heavy lifting, taking boxes from the moving truck up the elevator, down the hall to my grandma's apartment, and then taking the flattened boxes and garbage back down, just to get away from them for a few minutes at a time. On this particular trip, I was taking some old dishes that simply couldn't fit in the limited kitchenette. Mostly metal cups and wooden bowls with a few broken dishes chucked in the bottom, all marked for garbage. So I am walking down the hall with a huge box in my arms, and off to my left I can hear a phone ringing. As I get closer, I can see a woman, definitely not old enough to be a resident, peering around to see where the sound is coming from. As I approach, she asks me rather snottily, "Are you going to answer that?" I raised one eyebrow and gave her a rather confused look. I'm clearly dressed nothing like the staff, who all wear scrubs. But friends, after 3 days packing and unpacking in the sweltering apartment, I didn't have much patience left. She was frowning at me so hard, I had to say something. So as I walked past, I said, "Sure, lady, I'll get right on that," and carried on to the elevator. Karen whirls on me with a "how dare you" expression and grabs my arm while breathing in, breast swelling, probably to tell me at maximum volume what a bad employee I am. I have already had enough of this woman's entitlement. I drop the box. The broken dishes inside shatter again. Karen is startled so badly, she shuts the hell up and takes a step back. I look at her evenly. It cannot be lost on her that I am angry and clearly on the edge of something. I didn't yell, but in a low, clipped voice, I say, never breaking eye contact, "I don't fucking work here. I am not going to answer the phone because it isn't my problem. Now leave me the fuck alone." Her head was, by this point, as far back on her neck as possible, her lips sucked in. I maintain eye contact as the elevator dings and the doors roll open. I half push, half kick the box into the elevator and let the doors close behind me. Then, oh, that was great. That felt really good saying that. Thank you for posting this poster. I like this story. Woman goes ballistic because I don't work at Countdown. So, this encounter happened to me a few years ago, so bits may have been misremembered. TLDR at the bottom. Cast: me, Karen, police officer, manager, employee. Story: I was at my local Countdown, which is just the New Zealand Woolworths. I was in the bakery section when this woman, probably in her mid-50s, comes up to me and says, "Where are the Mallow Puffs?" Me. First off, I don't work here. And second off, no need. Stop lying and go to the back and get them or I'ma sue you. Then Karen yanks me back, making me fall over. Me. What the fuck, lady? This is when an employee comes over from the commotion. Employee. Ma'am, I'm gonna have to tell you to stop screaming or I'm gonna have to kick you out of the store. Karen, on a calmer note. You can't do that. He punched me, and if you don't kick him, pointing at me, out of the store, I'm going to sue. This is when the manager comes over from hearing this woman and seeing her pull me back. Manager, ma'am, get the fuck out of my store. Karen, a customer can't kick me out, so I'm not leaving. Manager, I'm not a customer. I'm the manager. And if you don't leave this instant, I'm going to call the cops and have you arrested for assault. Karen, that's unfair. He punched me. I never touched him. Manager, ma'am, I saw the whole thing go down, and he, points at me, never laid a finger on you. Karen starts sputtering a little bit. Fine, call the cops. They'll find out he's lying. The manager called and the cops took us in different rooms for each of our side of the story. I don't know what Karen said, but I told the cops that she pulled me back, causing me to fall and screaming at me. The cops then checked the security cameras to see who was lying, and Karen was caught red-handed. Police officer, ma'am, you're coming with us. The cop then took Karen to the police car, but not without screaming and kicking. That's the end of my terrifying encounter with a Karen. TLDR, woman mistook me for an employee, then assaults me, then the officers, then gets arrested. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Did this one happen? It sounds maybe feasible, but I don't know. Karen plays a stupid game. Wins a broken arm. Not my story, but I saw it. My buddy, B, breathes martial arts. Some people love cars. Some people love biking. He collects martial art forms like people used to collect Beanie Babies. The word obsessed would be aptly applied. At the World of Wally, our wandering protagonists were picking up some beer and pork rinds. B was wearing a blue muscle shirt with a full sleeve underlayer and black baggy surfer shorts. While scanning the selection of beers to rent, the desired brand was spotted, but trapped behind a pallet jack that had a few cases of something or other on it, left behind by one of the employees for some reason or another. Wanting to liberate the libations, B started to push it a few feet down the aisle so he could free the poor trapped beverages from the shelf. Stomp, 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 stomp. Down the aisle came she. She was wearing a loose, flowing pantsuit type thing. I don't know what they are called, but it is a one-piece outfit with the fabric kind of loose and billowy around the legs. So even though they are individual legs, they kind of look like a dress when they move around. I remember the wide belt with the large silver buckle, the shoes that are high heels but not with the skinny stiletto heel thing, but the heel column is a lot thicker and made a loud clomping sound as they purposely hit the floor. And the pearls. I've never seen anybody wearing pearls at a Wally World who was pleasant to deal with. But there they were, the Wicked Witch equivalent of a snake's rattle, a coral snake's stripes, or a porcupine's quills. She has seen B pushing the jack filled with the boxes, made the requisite connections to open her mouth before engaging her brain, and so the fun began. You, a worker, I need a few more things for my garden party. You can come back to this later. Come find what I need. B could be surly when he felt like it, and right now, he felt like it. Her harassment was delaying his drinking time, and he was not in the mood. I don't know what your problem is, lady, but I'm not your servant. She didn't like this. Face quickly turning red with anger, she strode into his personal space and poked him squarely in the chest 3 times in rapid succession. You will not address me as lady. I will not be treated badly by the likes of you. Now come with me. I will talk with your manager later. If you perform to my satisfaction, I might even let you keep your job. B mutters, whatever, as he turns away from her and takes a step or 2 down the aisle. How dare you! Came the outburst. She reached forward and grabbed his shoulders forcefully, and I could see her claws digging through the thin layer, probably cutting into his skin below. With the grace of a defensive guard who moonlights as a ballerina, I saw him twist his shoulders and do a kind of side thrust motion with his hips, and over his shoulder she went. It was a thing of beauty, clearly an instinctive reaction from being grabbed with pain induced. She landed hard, with her arms smacking the boxes still stacked on the pallet jack nearby. She screamed, an incoherent mix of a steam whistle and a drunk frat boy whistling at a concert. She lay there on the floor, clutching her arm. Running up came two guys, managers I assumed, demanding to know what happened. B stood there glowering at his assailant on the floor, who continues to make sounds that did not resemble speech. I stepped up and volunteered my observation. This lady demanded that he follow her around the store, poked him in the chest, and when he refused, he turned away from her, grabbed his shoulder from behind, and the next thing I know, she was on the floor. You could see some small fingernail-shaped tears on his underlayer. I found out later that there was some minor skin cuts and a drop or two of blood from where she scratched him. One of the people must have had a radio because I heard him tell somebody, call an ambulance and the police. As the lady was still unable to talk, doing nothing but whimpering and continuing to clutch her arm, the other guy said, "Don't move," and ran off somewhere. A few minutes later, some cops show up. One takes me down the aisle and asks what happened. I saw B going several feet in the other direction with another cop, while a third was crouching down around the lady. A few minutes after, the EMTs show up with a stretcher and do some EMT things, ultimately putting her on the stretcher. I wasn't paying too much attention as I was still talking with the cops, who, among other things, was writing down my name and address for my license. B was still with another cop, deep in conversation. I was vaguely aware of the stretcher being pushed down the aisle and heard the cop who had been with the lady say something about cameras to one of the guys who ran up originally. A few minutes later, the cop who was grilling me said I was free to leave. B was still talking with the other cop. I started to walk towards him when my cop told me, "No, you should go that way," and pointed down the aisle away from the other two. I didn't argue. Near the exit at this particular Wally World was an establishment that sold underground mass transit faux sandwiches. I was hungry, so I did the obvious. While eating, I saw one other cop walk through the doors and head off in the general direction of the beer aisle, but other than that, just the steady stream of oblivious customers streaming in and out. 12 inches of Black Forest ham with double meat, mayo, cheese, pickle, tomato, salt, and pepper later, along with 3 Cokes and a double chocolate cookie. I got a call from B asking where I was. I told him I was in the underground mass transit franchise at the doors, and he said he'd be right up. I saw him going through the checkout line with the beer and pork rinds. Priorities, right? And then he came over to me. I was ready to go, but he wanted his own underground mass transit meal, so I got a refill on my Coke and waited. He told me that the cops kept asking him questions, took down his contact information, then one came back, and then 2 others went with that manager type guy for several minutes. Then they came back and talked amongst themselves for a while, called somebody else, then told him he was free to go and that someone would be in touch within a few days and make sure he answered/returned their call. As far as I know, nobody has called him yet. He's still annoyed over the fuss, a little anxious about not knowing what is happening or going to happen, but can't do anything about it besides wait. Meanwhile, half the beer is gone along with all the pork rinds. He wants me to go to Wally World by myself next time. I'm going to make sure I wear my reddish shirt when I do. Oh man, I wonder if she had a stroke or something. Sounds like if she couldn't even make a coherent sentence. That's what might have happened. Yikes. Well, that was the last story for today, but I have a little bit of an I don't work here lady moment, I guess. I was at Walmart a couple days ago, and I was looking for a pool for my sister as a housewarming present, and I'm standing there looking at the pools, and I'm covered in tattoos. You know, I don't look like I work there at all. I was probably wearing a shirt yeah, I was wearing my Supernatural shirt that says, driver picks the music, shotgun shuts his cake hole. So I'm not really sure how I was mistaken for somebody that works there. But I was. It was an older couple that walks around and they're looking at me, and her husband says to her, "Ask her, she works here." And she's like, "I don't think she works here." And then she says to me, "Do you work here?" Of course I say, "No, sorry, I don't work here." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And they just start walking off. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but I was, you know how you're just itching for an "I don't work here lady" moment? Just after reading all of these stories in this subreddit, these weren't even the worst ones that I've read on this subreddit before, but they were pretty good. But sometimes you read some and you're clenching your own fists because you're so angry that you wish you were there because OP didn't say something that you wish you would have. I'm just waiting for my "I don't work here lady" moment where I could just unleash the beast. You know what I'm saying? Oh well, maybe someday. All right, my dudes. So I don't know if I'm going to be posting another video tomorrow as it is my birthday. I think I'll be treating myself to some new ink for my birthday. Maybe. If I get my ass out of bed early enough tomorrow, I might try to post a video, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to visit some family for a few days, so I might not be posting until next week. But either way, I'll bring my setup with me, and if I get some time, I'll try. All right, my dudes, I had so much fun making this video. I freaking love this subreddit so much. It just, every day, like, it just does not disappoint. If you liked it as much as I did, scroll down and hit that like button. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to be notified when I have future videos coming out with content like this, so you'll never miss one. As always, the links to the stories I read are in the description, along with the links to my social media, as well as the link to buy me a coffee. That's right, you guys can buy me a coffee. If you like this video so much that just liking it doesn't cut it, you can buy me a coffee. I totally put this up as a joke, but somebody actually bought me like 5 coffees because they're super awesome. Alright guys, I will see you in the next video.
Imagine, if you will, sitting down to your morning coffee, turning on your home computer to read the day's newspaper. Well, it's not as far-fetched as it may seem. In fact, both local San Francisco papers are investing a lot of money to try and get a service just like that started. Science editor Steve Newman reports on one person already using the brand new system.